you are. Hi, NARC troopers. Today we're going to try to talk about what happens in the aftermath of a discard, and about how you're gonna try to do everything in your power to make sense of something that is completely nonsensical. You know, you're dealing with a person who lives in an alternate reality. They are delusional, they have magical thinking, they have all these illusions about what is real and what is not real that are totally out of touch with reality altogether. And you know, just overall, both of you are living in what I call the shared fantasy. And by that, it's like you drink the Kool-Aid too. So while you're with this narcissist, psychopath, sociopath, you know, antisocial personality disordered person, and it's on a spectrum, so there's like levels. You could be like, you know, you could be like part narcissist, part sociopath, part psychopath, 20%, 30% this, plus throw in a little comorbidities like porn addiction, let's just say that one, or you know, one of the other garden variety of things that you could have as a comorbidity, and you have just a cluster, you know what, starts with an F, a cluster F of crazy, because it's just so much stuff that you're dealing with. How do you think you're going to get closure? How do you think you're going to ever make sense of it in a way where you can accept it and say, okay, this is what happened. Okay, I get it. I get it. So mine wrote me a few letters when he left. And I just want to, I'm not going to read the letter, but I want to pluck out a couple of things from it to make a point. My point is, he would say one thing on Monday, and then the following Tuesday, he would just flip it and say something completely different. And then 2 weeks later, invent a whole third narrative that had nothing to do with the first two. Yeah, that's how it went. And so I was, in the beginning, like maybe you are, totally clueless about what was going on. I was like, holy crap, what is this? I had a complete meltdown of all body systems, mental systems, emotional systems, regulatory systems, just everything about me collapsed. It collapsed. And in those weeks and months following the discard, I just, you know, it was an annihilation. I often call it an existential annihilation. It erased me, my identity, my past, my present. Because of cognitive dissonance and brain fog, I didn't know what the F was going on. And then it also erased my future. Yeah, the future. Because, you know, yeah, they take everything. You know, they leave nothing. It's like they leave nothing behind. But then again, they leave everything behind. And that's the weird paradoxical dichotomy of the whole thing. When he left, he took everything that ever mattered to me, everything of value, gone. But yet, he left behind everything. He left behind every single thing he owned. All of it. Like a refugee, he just fled into the wild blue. And what it was, and I couldn't believe it, that he left behind his guitar, camping equipment, swimming gear, you know, a backpack from REI that was worth like $600. He left behind hammocks and you know, 30 pair of shoes and a whole closet full of suits and fine Italian wool coats and just, you know, everything, socks, underwear, his facial creams and all of his, you know, his like stuff that he would do to stay pretty and put in his hair and smell good from Aveda, all of his Aveda products, all of it left behind, all of it, all of it. And so how do you do that? You do it because, you know why they do it? Because they're done with that life. they're done with that role. It's like they were in a play, and it's over. Curtain has come down, and what do? You bow a few times, then you go. You don't hang around and linger. The show's over. And so that's like, when the show was over, he went to a different theater, different show, different costumes, different role, maybe different time period, different accents, dialects, different words, different foods, different everything. Everything had to just be burned to the ground so it could just spring up new and fresh and just be like totally reinvented from scratch. He even had sense enough to know he had to leave Austin. He had to leave Austin, and he went all the way to California. Yeah, he went all the way to California because he knew nobody would know there what he did, who he was, what he was. He could start fresh with new victims, new people to adore, to give him attention, and to give him affection, and to give him all those things that he needs for fuel and supply as a narcopath, which is a narcissistic sociopath or psychopath. So here's the mind-blowing part. One day he would say, "You are the love of my life. You will always be the love of my life, and I will see you in the next life. And we will continue our journeys together through many lifetimes to come, as we have traveled many lifetimes before, because you are the one and only love of my life." And then a couple of days later, he says, "You know, I don't think I ever loved you. I stayed with you for 16 years and was married to you for 15 years because I didn't know if I could make it without you. I was probably codependent. I needed you. I don't think I loved you. I just needed you. And that's why I stayed. And so now I realize 16 years later that I don't care about you. So, see ya." And then the next time, it was somewhere in between those things, he made a beautiful thing. He created this beautiful fantasy in his mind. He said, I had this dream, and you were at the trailer where I grew up. He grew up in like the ghetto kind of part of town, and in a trailer. Not that all trailers are ghetto. That's all you can afford in California, right? If I move there, that's all I'll be living in one. But no, these were, it was, he was just a wild, feral human when I met him. He had not been raised. He had been raised by wolves. He had raised himself. He had been raised by criminals and perverts and stuff like that. And so he had no clue. No clue. But he said, I imagine you were there, and I was by the fence, and I was repairing the fence. I don't know what that's supposed to be symbolic of. And you stood at the top of the step before you turned and went inside that trailer, and you smiled and you waved like, okay, and you had on shorts and sunglasses and a tank top, kind of like what I have on right now. And then I disappeared. I had on a hat. He said I had a hat. And then I went into the trailer where he said, I will live forever in that trailer in his mind. He will always imagine me in that trailer when he thinks of me, which is he never thinks of me. When none of them do. When they erase you, you're erased. You're deleted. You're gone. Gone, baby, gone. And so he's not going to think of me. He never thinks of me. But he said, when I do, I'm going to imagine you. That's your special place. My one special place of my whole life, my childhood home, was in that trailer where I had peace. And that was, whatever. He had terror there. That's what made him a narcissist and a psychopath in the first place, probably. But he said, yeah, you're going to be in my memory in that trailer forever. I was like, okay, that sounds really like, a Technicolor movie clip or something where, and you rode off into the sunset or whatever, but, he really believed his own stuff. So, he says, our marital future has come to a conclusion. He says, I see two paths before me, and I'm trying to grasp the enormity of these choices, and I'm actively trying to remain cogent, rational, and logical in my faculties. Wow. He starts with that qualifier, like he's known to be irrational, and he's known to be not cogent, and he's known to be illogical, reckless, delusional. And so he's saying he feels that he's trying actively to remain in a zone of not crazy while he's working out this stuff. And so he starts with that, and he says, I say this knowing how much pain I have caused you, past tense, not like now, and how much pain you will have to endure alone. But I wanted not to be or feel true to myself, free to myself, if I didn't make the decision I make. So he's acknowledging that he knows that he has caused me a lot of pain by all of the horrific things that he did over those years. And I stayed, they say after a while you're not a victim, you're a volunteer. I volunteered because not only did I love this psychopath, I myself, he has cluster B personality disorders. I have cluster C personality disorders. There, I said it. I do. I have dependent personality disorder. I depend on other people to validate me, to complete me, all of that kind of stuff. And I have unhealthy attachment styles, and I have, abandonment issues. Woo! They say you attract what you fear. Yeah. Yes, I think that is correct. So I now want to set my intentions to bring normal, healthy people into my life to help me turn inwards and become normal and healthy. I want to manifest a life of health. No more mental ill people like my whole life, starting with my mother when I was a wee tyke. And she was effing crazy. She did a number on me. And yeah, I spent the first quarter of a century of my life blaming her and using her as an excuse for why I was crazy. But I wasn't crazy. What I was is I was damaged. I was traumatized. My inner child had a toxic program or script to face life with, a script that did not work. It was a toxic, unhealthy, mentally ill script that I was handed as a child. Like, this is how you deal with the world around you. Go nuts and tear up things and, go try to kill people. Do that. That's how you get through life. You don't use your problem-solving faculties. You don't, you just go to crazy town, and then people do what you want because they're freaking scared of you, and they're thinking, oh my gosh, we don't want any of that. Let's just stop the crazy right now. We'll give you what you want. I guess it worked for her. I don't know. But that's what she imparted to me as one of those things that mothers teach their daughters on survival skills, how to get through life. She said, you have to be beautiful, because if you're not, no one will ever love you. That was one of the first curses that she put on me, one of the first injunctions as a parent that she gave to me. And I got the memo. All my life I had to be the prettiest and the smartest and the bestest, because if I didn't, I would cease to exist. I would evaporate into thin air. I would go poof, and I would have some existential vacuum that would just suck me up and swallow me up, and I would never be seen or heard from again. Game over. So yeah, I had to believe her because she was my mom. And my dad knew she was nuts, so he was never there. And so I picked nutty people to be with as an adult, people who could not love me, people who didn't even know what it was, and then here we are. So I have journals, I have diaries, I have other things he's written, like when he went to SAA, it's a 12-step program for sex addicts. He went to that for 3 or 4 years and kept a journal and kept his little sobriety tokens. And every time he went, I thought, oh my God, I love this man. He's trying to be a normal person. He is trying not to be an addict. And I myself am also an addict because I'm a love junkie, not a sex addict. That's a little different kind of addiction, you know, pornography, multiple people that you just can't say no to in bad situations, and you catch things and it's icky and ooh. But no, mine is like, I attach to one person, and that one person becomes the center of my universe, and they define me. And you know, there are some characteristics similar to narcissism and psychopathy that are in dependent personality disorder, which I have, because both he and I look outside of ourselves to have validation, to have worth, and to stay alive. Essentially, we have to have that outside of ourselves contribution to fill in the gaps, color in the gaps and the holes in us from what happened to us when we were little. Sure, I feel sorry for him. I feel sorry for me sometimes. I feel sorry for all of you who had to go through something absolutely horrific when you were little, because it did do something to you. And whether you know it or not, subconsciously or consciously, you know, it's something you're having to deal with. So he goes on to talk about that, you know, so there's a level of awareness that different narcissists and psychopaths and sociopaths have. Some have no clue what they are. And if you tell them, they will deny it and say, you are that, because they blame shift, and they will not accept responsibility, accountability, culpability, none of that. They don't own their own stuff. It's your fault, and it's always going to be your fault, not theirs. So yeah, that's a thing, and you need to just accept that, because it's a thing that you will not change. And so in a way, there are some similarities between all these personality disorders, you know. A healthy person, which is not me, a healthy person would have seen like the first 1 or 2 things that he did like 17, 18 years ago when I met him, and I would have said, oh, hell no. This person is not okay. Red flag, warning, warning, get away, run the F away. Yeah? Yeah, you feel me? You feel me? If I had been healthy, I would have gotten away, but I was not. And this poor bastard, he contradicts himself, one day one thing, one day something else. It's all this universe that he can manipulate and stretch it and bend it and twist it. So you never, your target is a moving target. The thing that you're trying to nail down, the closure you're trying to get, the things that you want to happen here so that you can get well and get up and get on with your life, you're never gonna get them from these people. And when I say these people, doesn't that sound like some kind of like very awful, almost racist kind of thing? Like those people? Yeah, you know, mental illness is not a laughing matter at all. He is mentally ill, and if you know, I have a personality disorder too. I guess I am mentally ill. Everyone I've ever known has been mentally ill, but I am convinced there are healthy people out there who are not mentally ill. It's because I have all of this dark in here. I attract people like that, like a magnet. I am a narcissist, sociopath, psychopath magnet. They find me and come to me like, wow, you are the best thing that ever happened to us, because you're perfect. You're an empath, because I am an empath. I identify, you know how they say choose your pronouns? My pronouns are I, me, and my. Yeah, when I'm asked that, those are my pronouns. I, me, and my. But I also identify as a biracial. You thought I was going to say something else. Nope. Biracial. I'm half Thai and half Caucasian. I also identify as a person with dependent personality disorder and relationship addiction to people who are not okay, and attachment disorders and like abandonment issues. That's my jam. That's my bag of yuck that I have to deal with. And then after what he did to me, I got trauma-induced PTSD, which was complex PTSD because of the layers upon layers upon layers upon layers of trauma, abuse, neglect, crazy making that happened to me both in my childhood and as an adult. It's just this giant like thing where there's just like, you peel back one layer, ooh, there's another one, peel back another layer of it. You think you're getting closer to wellness. Nope. There's like 50 more layers under that. So you go digging, you go like spelunking, you go like, what, you know, it is a huge task. But what other choice do you have? Are you just gonna stay broken and keep attracting broken, mentally ill people to be with you? They're not gonna love you. They can't. They're mentally ill. You can't love yourself. You can't, because you've got problems. You got all jacked up when you were a kid, so you're having trouble even loving yourself. It's a mess. But I want to show you this. These letters, they contradict themselves. They are not rooted in reality. This is a sick person. The ravings of a lunatic, of a mentally ill person that's high functioning, can pass himself off as the most adorable, charming, sexy, seductive, smart, classy, cultured, a lot of those things, thanks to yours truly. Yep, I practically raised him. He's high functioning. He can pass himself off as all those things. And for the cherry on top, he always plays the victim. He's got this sweet little voice like, oh, everybody's so mean to me. Everybody's always hurting me and accusing me of stuff, and they say that there's something wrong with my brain. Yes! Admit it. Know it. I pray every night, dear Lord, wake him up. Make something happen to force him down on his knees so he will call out to you and say, help me get this thing that's wrong with my brain, the prefrontal cortex, the amygdala, all the different limbic system, reptile brain kind of bull stuff that's happening up here. You need divine intervention to get rid of that, I think, right? I mean, I do. I need that. And I think we all do. I think we're stronger when we can ask for help from something bigger than ourselves. And we don't just sit here living in some false world thinking we are God. That's what the narcissist, the sociopath, and the psychopath do. They don't need God because they are God in their sick, twisted minds. But here again, let me tell you, these people are not the ones that you see on the news, on the movies that are serial killers. You know, a few of them are. Yes, a few of them are. But the majority function, they have jobs, some of them are married, some of them have children, some of them have regular, 401ks. They go to the dentist once a year, and they take vacations to either Six Flags or Disneyland, depending on their income level. They're those guys. They seem like they're okay. They are far from it. When you get into the inner workings of their mind, it's chaos. And of their soul, there's nothing there. There's nothing there. They murdered their true, authentic self that was in here when they were little, tiny, abused, damaged, broken children. And they just murdered that little kid. They just tied him up and duct taped him and slit his throat and threw him in the corner, and then they cannibalized him as the years went on, so there would be no trace of him left. They ate him. They ate themselves. They cannibalized their own self. That little person that was innocent and sweet and true and healthy and hopeful and full of potential and promise, and that was okay, gone, dead, murdered, dispatched to their maker. What replaced it is a false self. That's who you are with, a false self. I suspected this but I couldn't look at it. I would look away. I would look anywhere, like, oh, don't want to hear this. Oh, no, don't want to see that. Oh, no, I can't look. Oh. And I shut my eyes and refused to acknowledge it for 15 years while my children looked on in absolute horror. And they said, put on the brakes, red flag. He's not okay. He's not okay. He's dangerous. He's dangerous to all of us. Stop. Please, for the love of God, please stop. And me, with my dependency issues, my attachment issues, and all of that, I couldn't do it. And over the years, I got trauma bonded. Over the years, with the intermittent reinforcement, I became addicted. Over the years, it was more than love. Yes, I really know how to love people. And yes, I really loved him. I still do. I love him. But it doesn't matter, because what I'm loving, it's like this letter. It doesn't mean anything. It's crazy words. It's word salad. It's lies. It's stuff they believe it when they write it down, and then tomorrow they don't believe it anymore. There's a new reality the next day. The whole life that you share with these people is like that. You got to believe me. It's like that. It's never going to get real. They're never going to wake up. No matter how much you pray, no matter how much you hang on to them, no matter how much you love them, it's not going to happen. It can't happen because they're not there. That's a false persona, and you will never, ever get closure from them. You have to get it for yourself. You have to get it for yourself because they can't. It's not like they have it and they won't give it to you. They don't have it. They can't give you something that they don't have, right? They can't give you something they don't have. So that's my message for today. Stop thinking that you're dealing with regular people with regular rules and regular morals and conscience and, all of that, regular feelings. You're not even close. And stop thinking that you're going to be able to get to a point where they're going to allow you closure. They're going to show respect and to the relationship. They're going to give you a little bit of dignity or some bit of reality where they acknowledge something and accept the, feel sorry for what they did and accept that they did a bad thing. That's never going to happen. It's never, ever going to happen. If I'm wrong, email me. Tell me your story. Let me talk to you. I want to interview you on my podcast because I've met hundreds, thousands of people in the last almost 2 years since he left. And I haven't met one that this was not true. I wish I were wrong. I want to be wrong. And my own emotional thinking hijacks my brain almost daily. And I go to that place where I start thinking, sooner or later, he'll probably realize what he did. He'll come back. He'll see the error of his ways. Reality will slap him in the face. Something will happen. No, I am tricking myself. I am telling myself lies. I'm lying to myself. Why do I allow myself to do that? I need to say, stop it. Stop telling lies. He's not coming back. He's not going to get well. He's not going to be a normal person. He's not going to live in reality. He's not going to accept any responsibility or blame for what happened. He's not going to ever just do things the way he's supposed to do them and be a moral person with a conscience. He's never going to be real. So in those moments where you trick yourself into thinking otherwise, stop it. Just stop. Because you know what? It's not going to work. And you're wasting valuable time. Time that you could be using to try to get a grip on yourself, turn inward, heal yourself from the inside out so that you attract healthy people instead of mentally ill people. Heal your own issues when you have, like, if, like for me, I have therapy twice a week for my dependency disorder. It's not really exactly codependency. It's a personality disorder. Two different things, but yes, I have that, and I acknowledge it, and I'm trying to go back in and make a new map, make a new rule book, make a new script. I'm a playwright, y'all. I'm making a new script for myself where there's gonna be maybe a happy ending where I don't need another person to tell me that I am amazing. All those years I was married to him, he was just mirroring and parroting and reflecting me. So really, it's like I was just, think about this, it's kind of like you're in love with yourself, because that's what they're reflecting back at you. And I was, whatever. It's, yeah. So, that's my message for today. I'm going to be quiet. I'm going to get going. And don't give up. My message is don't give up. Don't expect closure or change from them. Do it yourself. Give yourself that closure. Build your life. Heal the insides. And then good things will come to you. They will manifest. What's in here will bring that energy to you and will manifest in your life. Do not waste all your time and energy grieving over them. Yes, it is sad. Yes, it is terrible, but there's nothing you can do to help them. Give it up. Let them go. They're a dead man or woman. They're dead. They're dead. In so many ways they are. And you gotta accept that and move on like this. Move on, move on, move on. Okay, I'm being silly today. All right, I had coffee today, twice. Okay, see y'all later. Bye.